Who are the Kurds? A history of betrayal and resilience. The Kurds are one of the largest stateless nations in the world, numbering between 30 and 40 million people. Spread across modern-day Turkey, Iraq, Iran, and Syria, they share a common language, culture, and identity, but do not have a nation-state of their own. In this video, we will explore who the Kurds are, why they do not have a country, how regional states have treated them, and how global politics, including the Cold War and the fight against ISIS, shaped their destiny. At the end of World War I, the victorious Allies carved up the Ottoman Empire. In 1920, the Treaty of Sèvres promised the possibility of an independent Kurdish state. Article 62 and 64 of the treaty allowed for a potential Kurdish state in eastern Anatolia, and even suggested the possibility of uniting with Kurds in Iraq. However, this treaty was never implemented. The Turkish nationalist movement, led by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, rejected it outright. By this time, Britain had also found oil in the Kurdish city of Kirkuk in what's now Iraq. For this and other reasons, Britain also wanted to annex the southern parts of Kurdistan into the newly created country of Iraq. By 1923, the Treaty of Lausanne replaced Sèvres and excluded any mention of Kurds. From that moment, Kurdish statehood was abandoned by the international community. In the aftermath of World War I, Britain established control over Iraq under a League of Nations mandate. Kurdish aspirations for independence were ignored, and when uprisings occurred, the British used overwhelming force. In the 1920s and 1930s, in southern Kurdistan, what is now northern Iraq, the Royal Air Force bombed hundreds of Kurdish villages, even towns and cities, to suppress revolts, setting a pattern of harsh repression. Winston Churchill himself, then Secretary of State for War, even suggested the use of poison gas against what he called uncivilized tribes, including the Kurds. In 1921, a charismatic Kurdish leader in the city of Silivri, in southern Kurdistan, established the Kingdom of Kurdistan, only to be bombed and destroyed by the British. The British gave the southern Kurds two choices: submit to the rule of the new Arab state, Iraq, or face more destruction from the sky. In Turkey, the new republic under Atatürk denied Kurdish identity altogether. The Kurds were labeled Mountain Turks, and any expressions of Kurdish culture or language were forbidden. Rebellions such as the Sheikh Said Revolt in 1925 and the Dersim Uprising in 1937-38 were brutally crushed, with tens of thousands killed. This policy of assimilation and denial persisted throughout the 20th century. Even today, Kurdish political parties in Turkey are regularly banned, and Kurdish politicians face lengthy prison sentences. Turkey has framed this as fighting terror. For Turkey, Kurds who ask for Kurdish autonomy or independence are terrorists. As one historian put it, Turkey has undoubtedly attempted the genocide of the Kurds, but this failed only by the sheer size of the task. In Iran, the Kurds also faced repression. In 1946, with Soviet support, Kurdish leaders declared the short-lived Republic of Mahabad in northwestern Iran, or eastern Kurdistan. This experiment lasted less than a year before Iranian troops reconquered the territory and executed its leaders, including Qazi Muhammad. The memory of Mahabad remains a symbol of Kurdish aspirations, but also of vulnerability to regional power struggles. Kurdish activists in Iran are frequently executed, often accused of being enemies of God and the state by the Islamic regime. The Kurds of Syria, though fewer in number, face systematic marginalization. Many were stripped of citizenship in 1962, leaving tens of thousands stateless for decades, with little access to education and state resources. As in Turkey, Kurdish language and cultural expression were suppressed, and political activism criminalized. Yet despite this, the Kurds maintained their distinct identity and organized politically, particularly in the late 20th century. With the outbreak of the Syrian civil war, Kurdish groups seized control of northern territories, creating the autonomous administration of Rojava. Their model of governance, based on gender equality and grassroots democracy, has been groundbreaking. During the Cold War, the Kurds were exploited by the global powers. In Iraq, in the early 1970s, Kurdish leader Mustafa Barzani received support from the United States, Iran, and Israel in the Kurds' war with Baghdad. However, this support evaporated after the 1975 Algiers Agreement between Iran and Iraq, when Iran withdrew its aid in exchange for border concessions. The US and Israel followed Iran's footsteps and also abandoned the Kurds. The CIA later described the Kurds as having been used as a card in the Cold War. This betrayal left thousands vulnerable, and hundreds of thousands became refugees, fleeing imminent death at the hands of Iraq's army. In the 1980s, Saddam Hussein launched the Anfal campaign against the Kurds, destroying thousands of villages and killing 100,000 people or more, including women, children, and the elderly. The most infamous attack came in March 1988, when Iraqi forces used chemical weapons on the town of Halabja, killing around 5,000 civilians instantly. The Anfal has been recognized as the crime of genocide by Human Rights Watch. The following is how the Human Rights Watch described the Anfal. The Anfal campaign by Iraq's army against the Kurds resulted in the mass murder and disappearance of many tens of thousands of non-combatants, 50,000 by the most conservative estimate, and possibly twice that number. The use of chemical weapons against non-combatants in dozens of locations, killing thousands and terrifying many more into abandoning their homes. The near-total destruction of family and community assets and infrastructure, including the entire agricultural mainstay of the rural Kurdish economy. The literal abandonment, in punishing conditions, of thousands of women, children, and elderly people, resulting in the deaths of many hundreds. Those who survived did so largely due to the clandestine help of nearby Kurdish townspeople. These were the words of Human Rights Watch. During the Gulf War in 1991, the Kurds rose against Saddam Hussein, seizing large parts of southern Kurdistan or northern Iraq. This was the result of US President George H.W. Bush calling for Iraqis to overthrow Saddam Hussein. The Kurds took this as a promise of American support. However, the revolt was brutally crushed, leading to hundreds of thousands of Kurds fleeing into the freezing mountains without food or shelter. The US remained silent until the humanitarian crisis grew, with thousands dying daily. Public outcry in the West finally forced intervention. A no-fly zone was established, creating a safe haven for the Kurds in Iraq. This allowed the Kurdistan regional government to emerge, granting Iraqi Kurds de facto autonomy for the first time in modern history. In 2014, the world watched as Kurdish fighters, both the Peshmerga forces from Iraqi Kurdistan and Syria's YPG, played a decisive role in the war against ISIS. When ISIS advanced on Erbil and committed genocide against the Yazidis in Sinjar, Kurdish forces, with international coalition support, resisted and turned the tide. In Syria, the Kurdish YPG and later the Syrian Democratic Forces became the key ground partner for the US in defeating ISIS, most famously in the Battle for Kobane. Tens of thousands of Kurds died and were injured fighting ISIS on behalf of the world. These struggles won the Kurds global recognition, but not a state of their own. The story of the Kurds is one of resilience in the face of repeated betrayal and repression. A weaker force caught between the Turkish and Iranian empires, the Kurds are victims of geopolitics. From the broken promises of the Treaty of Sèvres to the bombings by Britain, oppression and denial in Turkey, executions in Iran, massacres in Iraq, and sacrifices against ISIS, the Kurds have endured immense hardship. Yet their identity, culture, and struggle for self-determination remain alive. What are your thoughts on the Kurds? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this video informative, please like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into history and politics. Thank you for watching.